Welcome to the Naked Truth with Angie. On today, we are going to talk about owning your emotions. That's what I said. Owning your emotions. I am so excited to have my girls here. I got my older sister Tiffany and my girlfriend Arinthia. We are going to talk about, like I said, owning your emotions. I just kind of want to get you guys to know Arinthia a little bit better. I mean, you guys have an opportunity to meet Tiffany on the last episode and kind of get to know her. She has so much more to share. But Arinthia, kind of just tell us a little bit about you. Thank you so much for even wanting to be a part of this big show. And I'm just so excited to hear your perspective on owning your emotions. So just tell us a little bit about you.
I appreciate you for having me on the show and inviting me today. Just a little bit about myself. I'm Arinthia. I'm from Monroe, Louisiana, a little small town in Louisiana. You know, Grambling State University, right down the street from them. However, I moved to Texas about 3 years ago with my husband and 2 children. I've been here for, like I said, 3 years, and I had the pleasure of meeting Angela one day outside of a charter school here.
That was horrible charter school.
So I'm like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" And we just instantly clicked, and we've just connected since then. So a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm 33, and I just met Angela through a school. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good, girl. I'm happy to have you in my life. So, as we said, owning your emotions, I just would love to hear your perspectives on what that really means. Like, what does owning your emotions really mean to you guys?
I have to say, for me, owning my emotions, I was born into a family that, I didn't know my biological father, and immediately I felt that rejection. And I had an image of who I thought he would be. And when my mom got married at 6, she married a man who accepted and loved us. But because I couldn't accept that, I dealt with rejection. Like everything, like the harder you love me, the harder I pushed you away.
Yeah.
And that resonated through a lot of areas in my life. Even when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, I became a part of a family that was very talented, and I just didn't know where I fit in. Mm-hmm. So I always had this feeling of rejection that I accepted, and I allowed that to make me, it made who the person I was at that time, where I just made bad decisions based on feeling rejected.
Yeah.
And when I got older, when I had kids, I started thinking about how that rejection caused my life to continue to spiral out of control.
Yeah.
Where I developed a lot of addictions and habits and things of that nature. And when I finally, it's like I just had an epiphany one day where God had showed me that I had this love around me all the time. I had a father who loved me all the time. I just didn't want to accept that. And when I finally told my dad after years, maybe a couple of years ago, I just told Daddy, I accept you as my dad. I should have done that years ago. He's always been the dad. He's never treated me differently. But because I wanted to let that rejection control my life, I had to now embrace the acceptance of the love. And ever since I've done that, I've been able to embrace a lot of other relationships and see things in a totally different way, because I'm not looking at it from a rejected point of view, but as an acceptance and a love that has always been around me, but I just didn't want to accept that.
Wow, that's beautiful, Tiff. And what I get from that is, as you were saying, you had to really take responsibility and know for yourself, wow, I look around and I've been loved the whole time, but it was myself that was hindering me from allowing me to receive that love. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in our relationships or our background and our family and how we were brought up, and we are our worst critic. We're like, nobody loves me. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. But then when you look around, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm valued so much, I'm loved so much. And it's just amazing, you know, as your younger sister, hearing you talk about this, because, you know, we, as a family, we grew up, and she was not my stepsister. We didn't play that shit. Like, she was like my sister, you know, and it's just seeing you grow up and be the oldest sister, and me being able to embrace you and seeing your struggles, how we each have our individual struggles, but knowing that you are embracing so much love, because we love you so much. But you had to own your feelings. You had to own it and say, you know what, I can't allow myself to not receive that ultimate love from the ones that love me the most, because I feel like I've had this image of my biological father, and I'm like trying to, you know, get that love from them. But it's like, man, we got you covered, right?
I know.
So if you are listening and you find yourself in a situation where you don't feel like you're loved, or you don't feel like you're surrounded by people that love you and encourage you and see so much value in you, just know that you are loved. And also own that, and know, like, what I'm feeling in your mind, sometimes our emotions can play tricks on us, and we can make ourselves feel like, you know, oh, nobody, you know, loves me, or nobody values me the way I want to be valued. Just know that you are loved. And I appreciate you owning that and letting reality set in, like, man, I'm tripping. Like,
you have to accept it. There's one thing, it's about the acceptance of it. I think we're so guarded that we choose not to accept the good things about ourselves. Or accept the good when we see it. We always look at it from a negative point of view, and I'm trying to change that. I really am. I'm getting ready to be 42 years old in a few weeks. And it's hard, but I feel like I'm growing up again. I feel like I'm becoming a new person, because I'm able to see life in a whole different way, when you can see it from a better picture. And I'm trying to do that. That's not easy. I'm the oldest sister.
Girl, I'm trying to figure it too.
We all in the
we
same
trying to figure
boat,
it
and
out.
we all trying to figure out their happiness.
But it's but it's okay to feel like you might have to grow up again. You know what I'm saying? You might have to go back and change those ideas and those thoughts that you had, and the preconceived ideas, because I had a lot of preconceived ideas, and I allowed those preconceived ideas to control my life. And when things didn't pan out a certain way, I would just freak out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like I'm able to accept different things, able to embrace love.
Owning your emotions.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing, babe.
Thank you.
Okay, Arithia, what would you say? Give me a good example of what that means to you.
Owning your emotions is just basically learning how to deal with life struggles and still kind of remain in control. And I know that sounds kind of difficult. It's easier said than done. But most of you all don't know this about me, and this is naked truth, right?
Keep it real, boo. Keep it raw, honey.
When I was a little bit smaller, my mom, to be spiteful towards my dad, took me away. And she took me away from this, like, a family of love, and I was spoiled, and I was the center of attention, and she took me away. She took my light. And she took me to California, where she allowed one of my siblings' fathers to molest me. So when I got back, that's when I started feeling rejection, because I'm like, how can my mother, who gave me life, who's supposed to love me, allow something so detrimental, and just for me to experience something so traumatic. So at that point, I had to deal with a lot of things, and my family, they kind of fought. My mom and my dad kind of fought about who would keep me and different things like that. And so I would hear my mom speaking negatively about my dad, and my dad speaking negatively about my mom, and I wanted to choose sides, and I was kind of like you. My mom would have these guys, and my dad would have these women, and I'm like, they don't like me, or I wanted my mom and my dad to be together. And so just growing up, I had to learn, like, it was a rough life, and finally I decided to forgive my mom. Me and my mom got really close when I ended up pregnant. And I received rejection from my dad, because it's like, wait a minute. You're in school. You're not married. You're not doing this the right way. And you're going to bring a baby into this world. Like, who's going to help you? But my mom showed me unconditional love, because regardless of whatever, whatever I was doing or how my life was going, she decided, she was like, I love you still. She was excited about it. She was there with me the whole step of the way.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned about just learning to own my emotions. And it bridged that gap between me and my mom. And it helped me in the long run, just with establishing that relationship with her, because I missed out on so much because I resented her because I felt like she took some things away from me. But it depends on how you look at it. I would say that, because I could have went on the deep end and turned to, no offense to you, but addiction and other things. But instead, I'm like, I'm going to get that light back. So I decided to get my light back. So that's just how I dealt with things. It's all about, like you said, your mindset.
Yeah.
You just never know how people will react to certain things. And my dad, he was always negative, and you know, and I'm just like, you know what? But I had my mom in my ear. It was kind of like a devil on my shoulder and an angel.
Right.
And the angel always prevailed. So that's how I got through, just basically owning my emotions and different things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And I think with owning your emotions, just to kind of wrap it up, what I'm hearing from these two beautiful ladies is, own your thoughts, right? Take full responsibility of what you think. And on the other side is don't overthink. Sometimes we overanalyze things. We allow ourselves to overthink. And I'm an overthinker. I'll give you a whole scenario of what you said, what you meant, how you did it, what you did when you did it, and how you did what you did.
And what you're going to do next week
right,
when I bring it up. Right.
Exactly. So owning your emotions and not being so hard on yourself. And some of the suggestions that I have is, write down some of the thoughts that you have. I think it's sometimes easier for us to think so much, but when we write it down and say, okay, what's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? And always think from the other side, the best side, and not always think on the whole negative side, because it allows your mind to go places that you don't want it to go. So if you are in a situation where you are not owning your emotions, the best thing I can say is do not overthink. Always put things on the best case scenario. Even though it looks so bad, always know that it could be worse. And thirdly,
say journal. I did a lot of journaling. A lot of my journals started out with just my thoughts that would end in prayers. Because it's like when you get that out of your head and you're able to talk to someone else. I talk to my sisters all the time. But journaling, I'm journaling because I want to leave it behind for my kids too, so that they see that mom struggled with X, Y, and Z, and this is how she overcame. And I think that'd be great to start doing, so that you can own your emotions. When you're angry, say I'm angry. When you're frustrated, you say that. When you feel rejected, you say that. But then you always have to counteract that with, I am loved.
Yes, that's
with
perfect.
those self-affirmations.
Self-affirmations.
Affirmations,
I talk to myself all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be your biggest hero and cheerleader. Exactly. So I would say I think it's a great thing to journal, and also to have self-affirmations, to always speak the positive.
And not even to speak the positive, Tiff, too. Speak the opposite of what you're hearing in your head. When you say I'm not, say I am. When you say I won't, say I can. You know what I'm saying? Speak that exact opposite. Own that shit. Like, no, that's not me.
I'm a boss.
Right, I'm a boss chick.
Get you a coffee mug that says it.
Okay. Because sometimes I be feeling waking up like, oh my God.
I have a coffee mug found it at Marshall's. I was like, ooh, I'm getting this. It's $3.99, but it was like, as the coffee went down, it said I am on the top, and it was like loved in the inside. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. So
you need that.
You gotta own that thing. And the thing is don't allow the thoughts in your mind and the experiences you have had to dictate who you are. Say, okay, I experienced that, but moving forward, I'm gonna make
decisions.
I'm gonna make different decisions, and I'm going to say that I'm going to be the exact opposite of how I acted before.
Don't sabotage the good things that are going on in your life. Don't self-sabotage.
Yeah.
If something is going well, keep it going, keep it
Yeah.
flowing. You don't want to. I'm good at that. I can sabotage a good thing.
Me
We
too,
could
I
be at a
talk
party
myself.
having a good time, and I'll be like, somebody about to shoot up the club. We got to go. So it's like, because I'm thinking something crazy,
Right.
but I'm saying don't
Yes.
allow yourself to have fun. Allow
Yeah.
yourself to feel good.
Yes.
Allow
Just a little
yourself to, sometimes when I'm too happy, I'm like, hold on, something about to happen. What's going on? But
Allow yourself that
that's
space.
crazy
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But yeah, just allow yourself just to enjoy that and don't sabotage it.
Yeah. So I hope we gave you a couple of takeaways from owning your
We gave about
emotions.
5 or 6.
We gave about 5 or 6, but check this out. Make sure you speak the opposite of those negative thoughts that go into your head and own your emotions. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Naked Truth with Angie. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Good.
Okay.
You gave some good stuff.
You did, girl. And you opened up.
You
Girl,
know what?
Naked
I
Truth.
don't like this naked
Me
truth
either, but I'm
stuff.
all good.